Mesechta Avoda Zara Daf Ayin Aleph Amud Aleph. We're starting from Ayin Amud Beis, and we're starting from Ayin Amud Beis, the Mishnah. Okay, let's start the Mishnah. Talk the Mishnah. Baileshes. Baileshes is soldiers, Goyish soldiers, Shenichnas Aliyah, that entered into the house of a Jew, and it was B'shas Shalom. It was in the time of peace. They weren't fighting. So then the din is, if they entered in a Jew's house, chavi is those barrels of wine of the Yid that were found psuches, that are open, asuris, are forbidden to have anah, because we have to be concerned that the soldiers drank from them. Sesumais, but if they were closed barrels, mutares, but they were good because they didn't open it, and they didn't. You don't have to worry. They forged it. They opened it. They don't care. If they want to drink, they just open it and leave it open. During the time of a war, elu mutares. If it's during a war, even the ones that are open, they didn't drink from. They don't have time to drink. In fact, you might have a steer. What do you mean they don't have time to drink? It says, a city that was under siege by soldiers. All the women of the Kohanim are supposed to go back to their husbands, because we say they were raped probably by these men, and a kohen cannot marry a woman who was violated. So and she can't go back to him. So you see, they have time. If they have time for that, they have time to deal with the wine too.
So she's married to this woman. She's violated. She has to get
a kohen, only a kohen. Now Yisrael could go back. So Rav Mori said, "L'nasich ein pnai." To do the hanky-panky, HBG, whatever, the Avoda Zara for wine. So that they don't have time. The Yitzhak is not that strong. But for living together with a woman, for that they make time for her. That the Yitzhak is very strong there. Zok Mishnah, those workers who are Jewish workers, they are working by Goyim. Now the Goy has to pay. How did the Goy pay? The Goy pays him with Yayin Esach. He pays him the wage with the Yayin Esach. The Jew works for the Goy, and the Goy pays with Yayin Esach. Says, you want to mutar, loima, the Yid could say to him, Tain lanu as the mel. Don't give me the barrels of wine. I want for my wage. I want money for my wage. I don't want wine. He can do that. But once the barrels, he accepted it in his ashus, and now he chapsechui. This is Yayin Esach. I want to tell him to give me money in exchange. He can't. Then it's too late. Usur, because then it's like he's selling wine, which is Yayin Esach, to a guy, and you're not allowed to sell any wine. That's Yayin Esach. Rabbi Yehuda said the name of Rab. Mutzel Adam Loima. Go out, and I have to pay taxes. Please, go and pay the taxes. Take care of me. I don't have the money now. He tells the guy, you take care of it, and I'll pay you back later. And the guy pays up the taxes with Yayin Esach. So is it a problem now? Now he's going to pay. The Yid has to pay back. He's having he's paying back in exchange for the Yayin Esach that he paid the government. Says, that's not a problem. That's because he could have paid with money. He could have paid with anything. It's not my business. I told him, go remove the headache of taxes from me, and I'll pay you back. So you say, really? That's not true. A Yid cannot tell a guy, take my place for the taxes and pay up the taxes. And if he pays it with wine, the Yid cannot pay in exchange with money. Rav said to the Makshin, that's a different case. You're saying, go and take my place. So that's me. You're representing me. So representing me. So then, and you're paying with Yayin Esach. It's like I'm paying with Yayin Esach. It's not similar only to this case. To a case where he's mamish paying, it's like the Yid is paying with Yayin Esach. But he says, what is it similar where we said it was mutter? It was similar to a case where he tells him, Save me! The government is coming after me. So he's going out to save him. The guy is going out to save him. He could save him with many ways, with yain nesach, with other. But he didn't say, "Take my place as if you're me." That not. If he says, "Take my place as if you're me," depends how you. Vimeret, yeah. You know the story. I told you with the banker.
Yeah, say.
Huh?
Tell me the story.
So there was a guy came and he was screaming for mortgage. This guy says, "You don't qualify." He says, "We looked over your forms." He says, "Well, he's screaming, give me the mortgage, you give everybody." So the manager comes out and he says, "Come with me." And he comes out and he walks out and with a black and blue eye, he walks out.
Black and blue eye?
Yeah. He says, "So what happened? Why are you so quiet? What did he tell you?" He says, "You guys spoke to me." He explained it to me. Okay, sagt die Mother. Sagt die Mishnah, somebody who sells wine to a guy, pasak, and he writes on the sign when you walk into the store, it says $5 for a pitcher, a bottle of wine, yeah, a liter, $5. So he knows the price. The guy comes in, he knows the price. Actually, Madat, before the Meich even measured, or when he measured and the guy already slapped it, Dama Motarim, he could keep the money, even though he didn't pay the money, he's going to pay him after. But the guy knew what the price is. He measured how much he's taking, how many liters he's taking. Let's say each liter is $5, $15, and that's it. The Dama Mutar. So you might have Madad. Actually, possible. But what if he measured and he didn't know the price, even though the guy made a meshicha. Meshicha, he pulled it, he made a kinyan, he acquired it through doing action, but as long as he didn't know the price, dama b'surim, you're not allowed to take his money. The money is us. Why is the money us? Because he never really decided to buy it. If it might be too expensive, and he won't make it back out. Rabbi Goffin used to always say the joke that I'm buried. There was a sign you could buy wine for 25 cents as much as you want. He comes into the store and the guy says, he tells the guy, "Give me all the wine. Here's a quarter." He says, "You got to bring your own vessels." So he takes off his hat and he says, "Okay, fill it up here." "Okay, any more?" He says, "Yeah, I'll be here." He comes outside and he went b'shutvis with his friend. He says, "That's all you got?" He says, "No, here." Okay, anyway. It says that Meshicha, by a guy, it's an argument if a guy could acquire something by pulling or by picking it up. Usually by a Jew, he acquires something by pulling or picking it up. Over here, Amema says, Meshicha is Kaina. There were these Persians that they would send matanas to one another, and they wouldn't be able to back out. Why wouldn't they be able to back out? Because when they took the matana, it was Mashiach, he was kainet. He can't ask for his matana back. Rashi says, he says, but there's no kinyanim by a guy, only money. He can Mashiach by a becomes not kaina. We said by the Persians, once they give a matana, they cannot back out. He says, no. This is, they have this meshugana pride, like even now, the Iranians. They say, we won the war, even though they lost their parents. I mean, but they're always screaming, Mem Gebunen. That pride overtakes them. So if they give a matana, they don't want to back out. I gave the matana, So he says it wasn't a kinyan that's the reason why he didn't back out. The Persians out of giving the matana, because it's their pride. They have this false pride in them. How do I know that Mashiach doesn't help by a guy? The Avashi says it doesn't help. Amema says it helps. So where does Avashi know it doesn't help? It says from this that Rab paskin for those that sold wine. When you measure the wine to sell it, like you come to a guy, don't give it to him yet. Shakli zuzim, first take the money, and then measure and let him take it. If you didn't take the money up front, lend him the money. Lend him the money that he should pay you, and he'll owe you as a halva. So he bought the wine with your money that you lent him, and now he's going to owe you money. Okay? So the kinyan was only with money. A guy, he wants to buy it. We don't want to sell it to the guy because the minute the guy made a kinyan with it and he started to use the wine and he didn't pay for it, the pulling it is not a kinyan. It's not in his rishus. It's still in the Jew's rishus. And it turned into yayin esach while it's in the guy's rishus. Now he can never sell it. He has to throw it to the sea. So that's why he says the only kinyan, the only way that first let him be in his rishus, let him give the money, rishus in his possession, by giving the money up front, or by lending him the money and he gives you the money up front and he'll owe you the money later. That's how it's in the guy's possession. Now, if the guy does something to it, it's in his possession that he made it into yayin esach. Says and if he's not going to do so, kikoi havi yayin esach b'shusaychu kohavi. If he didn't give him the money up front and the guy now drinks the wine, it's in the shus of the yid where it turned into yayin esach. V'chishaklisu. So when the guy is when the yid is taking now the money from the guy after the guy drank from it and made it into yayin esach, the yayin esach kashaklisu. He's taking money as an exchange for the yayin esach that he's giving him, because the guy made it into yayin esach while it was in the Jews' rishus, and now when he takes the money from the guy, it's an exchange for the yayin esach that became yayin esach in his rishus. Now, if you're going to say Meshicha by a guy is a kinyan, so we have no problem with the Mashcha. When the guy already made a Meshicha, he was already kaina. So what's the problem? Let him. Now he made a yayin esach in his own, in the guy's issues. If Meshicha is a kinyan, yayin esach lehavi the nagabei, and it doesn't become yayin esach until the guy touched it. So then it's when he touched it, it was already his because he made a Meshicha. Says the Gemara, that's your raya, because so you have to say the reason why Rav said to take the money up front, because it would be yayin esach otherwise. Says the Gemara, if the measuring cup, which the wine that was being poured from the yid, was belonged to the guy, hachinami. It should in such a the guy should have been kind of it right away. Why? Because without how by the guy lifting it by the it's the guy is holding on to a measuring cup, right? Here we're going to say it's hagbah. He wants to say. So in the case with the yid, the Meichi Yisrael pours from his chavis to the measuring cup that belongs to the yid, right? His own. So the guy was kained with hagbah because he's holding on to the wine, and when wine comes into a keli and he's holding it in the ear, so the Mefarshim say it's considered as hagbah. So he was already kained. So as the Gemara Leitzicha, so if he was kained already while he was receiving the wine, he acquired it already while he was holding the vessel in his hand because by holding a vessel in midair and somebody's pouring wine into your vessel, it's like you did the elevation to it, which it's an action that makes you be kaina. So as you want to like Sikha over here, it's talking about the kakai that the kli belonged to the guy, and since the kli belonged to the guy, so for sure there was residue of yayin esach on the bottom of the keli. So when the yid poured in the wine, it became yayin esach when it went into the guy's keli. So now the keli, the keli. You're right, he was kained, but it was yayin esach. So how could the yid take money for it? Says you want to save. He says you're wrong. You're right. If it touches the residue, that's when it becomes yayin esach. But he was kained in midair before it hit the bottom of the kli. He was already kained because the aver of the keli was kained for him. So, kind of acquired for him. It was acquired the air in the vessel, while the wine was in the air of his vessel. It was his vessel acquired that wine.
How do you get around this?
Huh?
How do you get around this?
What do you mean? How do you get around?
No,
he's saying that the guy acquired it, so therefore, why shouldn't he be able to take the money? Says the Gemara yayin nesach lo yahavi adam batal isa demana. It's and the Gemara finishes off saying, and the yayin nesach only happens when it touches the bottom of the kli, but he already acquired it midair. Says the Gemara shmamina so lecheira should be a raya from here that the reason why we said he's not allowed to accept the money because nitzoy chibur. We had this in the previous Gemara when you pour and there's a stream of wine touching the bottom, so it reverses. If it became yayin nesach, it's called chibur nitzoy. It reverses. It bounces back into the kli and makes the whole kli from where the wine is coming from into yayin nesach.
It goes into the jar before it touches.
Right, but now he's telling you, you're right. Some of it in the ear he's kind of, but the moment it touches the bottom, any wine, so the whole kli from where the wine is coming from became a whole all yayin nesach. So l'chayda we have a raya nitzuk chibur. So he says loy, no nitzuk I could say is not chibur. It's not yayin nesach. Whatever's in the kli. It's and we could say you don't have a raya to Ravashi. That what did Ravashi say? That Meshicha ba'ivit kecham is not koina, and he will say either not like evit kecham lekli b'yudei, and if it's talking about the guy is holding the measuring cup in his hands, hachinami he should be koina with while it entered the ear. Says the Gemara, the reason why he wasn't koina while it entered the ear, leitzicha the manacha ara. It's talking about that it's he's not holding it. The keli is on the ground. So the Gemara tried to say first it was kind of in the kli, in the ava of the kli. So the Gemara says this. So Abai, if he was kind of in the ava in the kli, why can't he accept the money? So the Gemara wanted to say nitzuk chibur, but we know we don't have a psak. If nitzuk is chibur, meaning when it touches the wine, the flow of wine touches the bottom, the whole barrel from where the wine is coming from becomes ayin nesach. Why didn't we paskin like that before? So the Gemara says, right, look, we don't have a raya nitzuk chibur from here. We'll say it's not. So let it be kind in the avir. Why? So why he can't take the money? Says Gemara, he wasn't kind of it. He wasn't kind of with the keli because he wasn't holding it. The keli was lying on the ground. So the Gemara, tikne le kilya. So let the keli itself belongs to the guy. So let the keli be considered as his chatzar, and it should be kind of it. So we see because where's the keli? In the meiches ishus, in the seller's ishus. The buyer is coming with his keli into the seller's ishus. He puts it down, and the yid fills it up with wine. But where the keli taka belongs to the guy, but the keli cannot be kind for the guy because the keli is b'ishus of the meicha of the seller, and so we should bring a raya when a keli of a person is in somebody else's shus, he cannot be kind of him. Says it's not true. I can really say even when that vessel, my vessel, is in somebody else's shus, it could be kind of for me. What over here? What is it talking about? It's talking about that the keli had a lip, and on the lip there was drops of his wine. It's the guy's cup. So he had leftover residue of drops of yayin nesach. So the kama right when the wine, you're right, in the ear it's going to be kind of, but it touches the lip. But as it's touching the lip, it becomes right away insichle. Becomes right away yayin nesach. The moment it touches those drops. Well, again, he's saying in the ear, you're right. The ear of the kli should be kind of for you. But here we're talking about it doesn't go straight into here. The keli has a lip. On the lip, it belongs to the guy. The guy always drinks from that pitcher. On the pitcher, on the lip of the pitcher, there are residue of his yayin nesach. When the yid pours the wine, it touches the lip, right? So when it touches the lip where there's yayin nesach, that wine turns into yayin nesach immediately, even before it hits the ear of the kli. Says the Gemara, come on, who's it follow? It cannot follow Rab Shimon Gamliel. The Rab Shimon Gamliel, because if it follows Rab Shimon Gamliel, Ha'amar, Rab Shimon Gamliel says, if there was a whole bunch of barrels of kosher wine, and one was yayin nesach, we don't know which one. So he says, Rabbi Shimon Gamil says he could sell all of them except deduct one barrel.
Which one?
Doesn't matter. One barrel. You have 100 barrels, 99 are good, and one was mixed in there. He says you could sell it to, you're allowed to sell it, and you have to deduct the worth of one barrel. You cannot have, no, you have to throw that money into the sea. Says so it cannot go according to Ram Gamil, because here we say when the wine touches the drops, we should deduct just the drops, right? Those little drops, not all the wine touched the drops, so deduct those couple of drops that touch the drops, and the rest we should be able to sell. If we hold like Ram Gamil. Obviously, we don't hold like Ram Gamil, we say it's all usher. So Zakasha says, he says, we're learning this psak according to Rav, so there's no kasha. Amar Rav, Rav said, halacha Rab Shimon Gamil. The halacha is like Rab Shimon Gamil only by chavis bechavis, when it's in barrels, and the wine is not touching the wine. It's just each barrel is separate, closed, sealed. That's a different ball game. Over here, we're talking about the physical wine is touching the drops of his wine from the residue of his pitcher. So that's yain yain. Everybody would agree. It turns into yain esach. One who bought pieces of silver from a goy, and between the silver he finds a little getchkele. He finds a little silver idol, a little silver idol.
What
A
did
getchke.
he buy?
He bought broken pieces of silver, and between the silver he found a little getchkele, a silver one. Says you want to if before he gave the money he pulled it in, he can return it because he didn't give the money. But but once he gave the money and he made a mashicha, that's it. He cannot. He pulled it to himself, so he did an action. So he has to take that money that the worth of that idol, bring it to the Yam HaMelech and throw it there. But if you hold Mashiach, the pulling, either way, a Yid from a Goy from Yid is a Kinyan, Amayasa. Why could the Yisrael return the idol, even if he didn't pay money? If he made a Mashiach and you say a Yid who makes a Mashiach from a Goy, he's a Kinyan, he shouldn't be able to return it. He was Kainat. And now when he wants to give it back for money, that's having enough from Avoda zara. Abaya said, Mishum de Mercy ki mekach tolos. Here it's different. If he didn't give the money, so it's a mekach tolos. He thought he's getting broken pieces of silver. If he would have known there's idols between it, he would never bought it. Amarava reisha mekach tolos. That's why you can give it back. It says Gemara reisha, you're calling it a mekach tolos because he didn't give money. Sefer la mekach tolos. The sefer, even though he gave he gave the money and then he made a mashicha, he could say also it's still a mekach tolos. He didn't know he's getting idols. He would have never bought it. They're both ataka mekach tolos, and really he should be able to give it back in both cases. But Reisha he's in the Reisha where he didn't pay for it and he did a mashicha. Then it doesn't look like that the Yid is selling Avetz Yechavim for money because he didn't give money. He just gives back the Avetz Yechavim and he says, "This is the silver I have. Now I'll pay for what I have." But he's not asking the guy to give him money. If the guy has to give him back money for the Avoda zara, there's exchange here. Then it looks like he's selling Avoda zara for money. The Sefer, the Yozuzi, where he gave money, now he's asking for money back and he's giving the Getchka. Now it looks like there's exchange, money for the idol. Makshish is in the son of Toshma, come in here and I'll bring you a rai that Mashiach helps as a kinyan by a goy. Yeah, where do we see it? A sold that a yid that sells wine to a guy, Pasak, he set a price with him. And now if he measures and the guy makes a mashicha mutarim, he's allowed to collect his money. Even though he didn't give the money, but he knew the price, the guy. Like we said in the Mishnah, and it's a kinyan. But if you're going to say the Meshicha that the guy did is not a Kinyan, why would the money be mutter? He shouldn't be able to take the money now, because if the Meshicha wasn't a Kinyan, so it's still in the Yidzishus, and the guy is drinking, he's made it into Yayin Asa. So how could the Yid take money? And the Yimara that he gave him the money up front. So then he gave him the money up front. That was the Kinyan. It says Madat Atzloi Pasak. He made a measurement. The guy made a Meshicha. He didn't tell him the price. The money, he cannot take it. If he gave him the money up front, why should his money be Aser? Let's say he gave him a lot of money, and now he's going to have to give back he didn't know what the price is. He'll give him back change, but why shouldn't it be a kinyan? So he said back to Makshisha, Ravashi answered, according to you that you say Mishich is a kinyan, Amai Reisha Damav Mutar. Why in the Reisha you said, the money he can take now? But the Seif Damav Yisurim, the Seif he said the money he cannot take. Why? What's the difference between the Reisha and the Seif and the Mishnah? Pasak, because he knew the price.
That's the price.
Oh, so when he knows the price, Samchadaita, so you could say the guy completed his mind to buy it. We know for sure his full intention was to buy it. So that was, and he made a Meshicha, so it's going to be a full Kinyan. Loi Pasak, but if the guy doesn't know the price, Loi Samchadaita, he's not yet relying to buy. He's not 100% ready to buy. So he says. So he answered. But so Vashi says, "The dinami." Even when I say Mashiach is not a kinyan, I'm saying that it's talking about they gave the money up front. There's a difference if he gave the money up front knowing the price, or he gave the money up front not knowing the price. Af al gav the kodem leidina, even though he gave the money up front. Ravashi, that's how Ravashi learns the Mishnah. He says Pasak. If there was a set price, there was a sign in the store, it says $5 a liter. You knew exactly what the price was. Some chadaita. So that the guy knew what he's getting, and he fully had intention to buy. Loi pasak. But if he walked in the store, he doesn't know the prices. He gave money up front. Loi some chadaita. Lav davke. He's ready to buy it. He could change his mind. It's too much money. He ask $100 a liter, and I don't want it. Amalei Ravidu Rabashi. Rabbeinu said to Ravashi, and who says that there's no kinyan Mashiach by a guy. Toshma, come in here, and I'll bring you a raya that there is Mashiach by a guy. He's asking Ravashi. Ben Noyach Neherag al pas mishava pruta. A guy who steals, even if it's less than a shava pruta, he gets killed. Even though by a yid, shava pruta means very like a penny, and it's less than a penny. A Jew is meichel on a Jew is meichel on that, but it says a benoyach that steals from a Jew, he does get killed for it. Loy nitin li shavin, he doesn't have to return it. Says if you're going to say the Meshicha of a guy when he stole it from the Yid, he's not kaina, a mine. Why does he get killed? He didn't steal nothing. He didn't acquire what he took. Meshicha is not a kinyan. And the Gemara Mishum Tzara Yisrael, because he was Mitzayir, the Yid, even though he wasn't kaina, but he was Mitzayir. He took his money with him. She has to run and get it back. It says, and Avasha explains, what's the pshat? That there's no inyan of returning, meaning that the Goyish Gazlan is not mechuyev to return it to the Yid, the Gzela, which is Pas Meshava Pruta, because the Yisrael is meichel on that. That, like we said, a Goy is not kind of the Gzela b'mshicha, but it's still in the Rishus of Yisrael, and it's not shaykh for the Goy to return it. That's another way of looking. Here, by a Goy, maybe you're not meichel when a Goy steals from you, but he never stole from you because he was never kind of through Mashicha. Yeah. The Gazan Akan Eimeteshi Shavin Cloud because he wasn't kind of the Gzela. In fact, you want to Yahachiv so Ema Sefer, it says in the Sefer of the words of Rabbi Yochanan, if after the guy stole from the Yisrael, Bach Aveirei, then a Chava of this guy, another guy came, und told him and stole the gzela from the first guy.
Geld mit Nagana.
So we say the second Gazlan, Neragala, the second Gazlan, Neichel in fact, you want to Bishleim Reisha, the first case where the first Gazlan stole directly from the Yid, Shum the Tzadi Li Yisrael, at Mitzayu and the Yid. So I understand why he gets killed. Allah save for my of it. What did the second guy do to the first Yid? He stole this at this Mitzayu and the Yid. But the guy is a Kemish Kaina given. The guy was never Kaina. He never stole anything from the first guy. Because the first guy never stole anything from the Yid. Elishmami na Mishicha be'ev kechavim koina. Mishicha is a koina, and it was a gzela. So the guy did steal from the second guy, but stole from the Yid. Yeah. So we see Araya Mishicha is koina. Shmami na is Araya Zakasha Ravashi.